Hello, welcome to Movie Summaries. Today we are summarizing a 2019 horror movie called Girl on the Third Floor. Fair warning, there are spoilers in this summary. Enjoy, and be sure to subscribe to watch more videos weekly, and hit like. A man named Don Koch arrives at a house he has just purchased in the suburbs. Comes along with his dog, Cooper. The house is old, and has several pieces of vintage furniture. As the two get in, Cooper runs up the stairs, and ends up in a room with a sludge-like substance on the floor. He starts to lick it. Seriously, dogs are so innocent. When Don comes in, he first notices a black spot on the wall. It is squishy, and when he touches it, a slimy substance comes out of it. The wall seems hollow, so he breaks it with a hammer. A marble suddenly distracts Cooper, and he swallows it as Don tries to stop him. Don then starts to clean the house, starting with the slimy substance Cooper was licking earlier. Just then, he is startled by a doorbell. His new neighbor, Ellie Mueller, stops outside with alcohol to welcome him. Now that's some way to welcome your new neighbor. Ellie is a pastor who lives right across from the house. As they talk, we find out that Don has a pregnant wife named Liz back in Chicago. He is here before her to prepare the home for her. The following morning, Don wakes up to Liz video calling him. The two talk for a while. Liz wants to send him some handyman to help him renovate the house, but Don refuses. He then figures out how to use a drill and starts fixing the hole he created. However, the drill stops working midway. Don tries to plug it into a power outlet, but notices the same slimy liquid coming out of the outlet too. He then steps on a marble and hurts his legs. Just then, a man rings on his doorbell. This guy is struggling. It is a real estate agent who wants Don to sign some papers. As they talk, we get to know that Don has a criminal past, and his wife is the breadwinner. Something seems a bit off here. After that, he continues to break the hollow walls in the house. This time, he finds old newspapers, a dress, and a wig inside the wall. He doesn't think much of it. Later that night, Don goes out to a pub, where he meets the local bartender, Gary. When he tells Gary that he has bought the house, he asks Don if he is gay. Surprised, Don answers that he is not, and that he is about to have a child with his wife. The bartender then says that the house has always been bad news for straight men. Weird. Don doesn't question him further. When he gets back home, he calls Liz again. After she hangs up, Don looks at explicit pictures of women. The following day, he tries to clean the kitchen sink. As he handles the pipes, it splurges black slimy liquid onto his face. Don quickly goes out to clean his face when he sees a girl standing in their front yard. She comments that the house is beautiful, and the two talk for a while. After that, Don gets back to cleaning the pipe and finds a marble blocking it. When he goes to shower later, the same slimy substance comes out of the shower head. Don curses in disgust. At the same time, we see someone's feet outside of the tub. Really creepy. Later, Don watches Ellie through his windows. As he walks away, we see someone's reflection in the mirror behind him. That night, he sees the girl from earlier pet Cooper downstairs. She offers him a cigarette. Really, girl? Don brings her inside to show her around the house. She introduces herself as Sarah. Don mentions that he has a wife, but the whole time she seems to be flirting with him. When they get to the bedroom, Sarah seductively hugs Don. He closes the door, and the two have sex. Cooper barks at something the whole time they are inside. After Sarah leaves, Don hears a loud noise from the bedroom. He runs up to see that the ceiling has fallen, revealing the attic. The attic has a bleacher-like area that overlooks the bedroom. The following day, Don cleans up the remains and continues renovating. At night, Sarah comes to the house again. However, this time, Don sends her back saying that he has a lot of work to do. That night, Don dreams of having sex with Liz, who suddenly changes to Sarah. All of a sudden, the slimy substance drops to his face, and he looks up to see Sarah's face distorted. He wakes up, covered in sweat. A single marble lies on his chest. He assumes that Cooper has kept it there. Now why would the poor dog do that? Later, Don swallows the marble for some reason. What? Just then, the doorbell rings, and his friend Milo comes in. He's come from Chicago to help fix the house. That night, the two go to the pub and meet Gary. He informs him that the house Don has bought used to be a brothel long back. They then start talking about girls. Men will be men. The following day, Don wakes up to Milo working. He tells Don about his assistant. Don is surprised to see Sarah in the house. Turns out, she lied about being his assistant. He threatens her to stay away, but Milo hears them talking and intrudes. Later, when she is gone, Don confesses to Milo about cheating on Liz with Sarah. Milo is furious and yells at Don for being unfaithful. Don asks him not to return if he can't keep it a secret and leaves to get coffee. Milo is alone at the house working when Sarah appears in front of him. He sympathizes with her because she was threatened, but asks her to leave. Just then, Sarah takes a hammer out and hits Milo's face, gouging his eye out. Milo tries to drag himself and run away, but can't. Just then, another woman with a distorted face arrives there. Sarah asks her if she wants to help. She then hits Milo the last time, finally killing him. Man, he should have left when Don was being an ass. Don returns back at night, but cannot find Milo. He texts Milo, apologizing to him, and gets a reply saying that it's all good. Assuming that he left because of Sarah's arrival, Don doesn't think much about it. Later, Don shows Liz around the house in a video call when Sarah walks behind him. Not the right time, Sarah. Liz sees this and asks him who is in the house. Don turns around but doesn't see anyone. However, when he goes to the kitchen, he sees that the back door is wide open. After the call, he checks the house for any intruder. The following day, he sets up new locks in the doors and installs a security camera in the living area. That night, Don is fast asleep with Cooper beside his bed. Suddenly, a slimy substance along with a marble drops from an electric outlet. Cooper sees the marble and follows it downstairs. Suddenly, Sarah appears out of nowhere. The following morning, Don awakes to a noise and finds Cooper missing. He follows the noise and reaches downstairs to the dryer. When he opens it, he sees Cooper's bloody dead body being rotated. Why the dog? A police officer comes to the home. Don gives him Sarah's name and description and tells him that she is the suspect. However, the police cannot do anything with evidence, and there is no sign of forced entry. Even the camera only has footage of Cooper walking down the stairs. Later that day, Don is in the house when a singular marble rolls toward him. He looks up to see Sarah standing there. He apologizes to her for threatening her and informs her of a gift he has placed on the kitchen counter. As Sarah walks into the kitchen, Don takes a hammer out and hits her on the head, killing her. Then, we see him dragging Sarah's wrapped body down to the basement. There, he places her body on the wall wanting to dispose of her. However, in the middle of it, he gets a call from Liz. She informs him of a text she received from Milo, saying that he wanted to talk. Uh-oh. As she mentions this, Don starts to yell at her and cuts the phone. When he goes back to the basement, Don is surprised to see that Sarah's body has disappeared. He goes looking for her upstairs and hears a noise coming from the attic. There, he figures out that the attic wall is hollow. He breaks it with a hammer to reveal a small room inside. The walls are covered with drawings of a girl with a Birdman figure. With the aim of finding out everything about the house, Don comes downstairs and checks every wall. He finally finds a hollow one and drills a hole through it. Don then looks into the hole with the camera attached to a string. He is startled to see the head of a girl move. Frustrated, he starts to break another wall and sees a breathing body inside it. As he hits the wall with a hammer, several parts of the house start to pump blood and the slimy liquid from earlier. Then, he finds Milo's body inside the wall. He runs to his phone to call the police, but it goes straight to voicemail. Just then, he receives a picture from Milo. He opens it and is terrified to see a picture of Sarah flipping him off. Just then, the cabinet doors start to bang by themselves. The girl with the distorted face emerges from one of the cabinets. He watches her in horror when a marble rolls down his feet. The marble hits his legs and gets into his skin. Don cries in pain. He takes a knife and slices his skin to get the marble out. However, the marble rolls up his body and reaches his neck. The girl stands in the doorway, watching him. Don whimpers in pain and begs her to stop. He cuts his own throat to get the marble out, but cannot. The marble rolls towards his eyes. The girl is now in front of Don and rolls more of her marbles towards him. The following morning, Liz arrives at the house. She inspects the house and finds the holes in the walls created by Don the day before. Inside the holes are newspapers. She reads them and figures that the house was once a brothel. A girl from the brothel had gone missing one day and was never found. She throws the newspaper away and goes down to the basement to explore. Bad idea. There, she finds a marble. When she comes up, she is startled by Sarah. She introduces herself and tells Liz that she has been helping Don. Sarah touches Liz's pregnant belly, making her uncomfortable. Just then, Ellie rings the doorbell. She calls Liz to come talk outside. Liz goes back to the kitchen and sees that Sarah is missing. Ellie asks her about Don and her relationship and says something about the house bringing out the worst in people. Liz thanks her for her concern and gets back in. Liz then finds a long lump of hair in the basin. Looks like your boy is cheating. Just then, she sees someone watching her through the sinkhole. Creeped out, she calls Don, but finds his phone on the bed. Liz then goes to Ellie's house and tells her about her problems with Don. He had cheated on her once before. Ellie informs her that the house has had many families live there without problem, but some never can make it home. The difference is caused by the resident's character. Ellie then tells Liz to get her husband and her baby far away from the house. When Liz returns to the house, she sees several men there. They do not seem to respond to her, just like when I text my friends when I need them. She follows them to the attic and sees a group of men watching down to the bedroom from the bleachers. She peeks down to see Sarah and a man in a bird mask performing S&M. Holy moly. The man seductively hits a naked Sarah. Liz is beyond confused. I would be too. As it turns out, she is having a vision of the house when it was a brothel. Then, Liz enters a secret room in the attic and finds a little girl accepting marbles from the man with the bird mask. She encounters Sarah on the stairway, who reveals that she was a prostitute in the brothel and was killed by the brothel's owner. As Sarah chases her, Liz locks her inside a room. Just then, Don comes out of the closet. He has cut himself all over his body, presumably to get the marble out. He apologizes to Liz for cheating on her, but she doesn't accept it. As Liz tries to get out of the room, he takes a knife and cuts his face in half, revealing Sarah beneath the skin. She explains that it was a trick to test Liz before allowing her to leave the house, for being strong against the will of men. She then comes across Milo's body inside the wall. As she turns around, the girl with the distorted face emerges out of the wall. Liz hits her on the head to kill her. Sarah comes near the dead girl and caresses her hair. Liz finally opens the front door and gets out. Ellie sits in their front yard. Liz yells at her for knowing everything and still not warning them. Ellie explains that every person must choose to take their own decision and face the consequences in the house. Don chose to cheat on his wife and was killed, while Liz proved herself to be strong against man's will and was let free. The following day, Liz breaks a wall in the house and finds Sarah's corpse behind it. Ellie and her give Sarah a proper burial. It is now 6 months later. Liz and her daughter still live in the same house. As Liz leaves her in her crib, a marble drops onto the crib from the ceiling gate. The movie ends as we see Don watching his daughter from the ceiling. Hope you enjoyed our summary. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos weekly. Thanks.